Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Rwagnation League Grand Prix here in Bahrain. It's the F2 races up first. We do have the feature race and then the sprint race, and joining me in the commentary box is, as always, the lad himself, Mr. Safso. How you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you doing yourself?
Great, because I mean, Bahrain has literally delivered every single time I've been here of every single racing league I've ever commentated for, and I honestly just cannot wait to see how we get going with this Grand Prix. So, kicking us off, we have the one-shot qualifying, and Safso, I'm going to ask you, who's getting pole and who we're going to board with for the hot lap?
For the hot lap, I would quite like to be on board with Duxie B. He did quite well in Australia, so I'm interested to see how he does here. For pole position, oh, that's tricky. Jack's coming up there near the front and Nick's on as well. But I'm gonna back my. I'm gonna give Duxie for pole. I reckon they're gonna pull it back in the second half of this lap.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Piloto Pai is here. He's actually a very, very good driver when it comes to the F2s. He had a bit of a poor showing last week. He had a good, terrible qualifying, good first race, terrible second race, and it just could have gone much better for him. Clearly, he's back with a vengeance. He's right now currently sat up there in provisional pole position. We've got a lot of drivers on the field as well today, which is fantastic. Some of the great drivers as well, like Rwaggy, for example, who you know as stated when it comes to the F1 races. It's fantastic. I love seeing the regular drivers coming back time and time again and showing how good they can be. Somebody else who's been really focusing on trying to improve here is Hardy F1. He mentioned to me earlier today, he said, look, Rwaggy, I'm struggling. I need some sort of support. Can you give me some pointers and stuff? So we went on the track together. I gave him a couple of tips and tricks when it comes to the setups. I gave him a couple of tips and tricks when it comes to the actual track itself. And overall, his pace improved dramatically when it came to that session alone. So not necessarily expecting him to be, topping the tables when it comes to the qualifying, but we said earlier, the focus has got to be on the consistency, especially on a track like this, where the F2 cars are going to struggle in the early gears. But here come the times then. It's Piloto Pai who secures himself the pole position with a 138.968. It's Aviator there in P2, and Kulmanik, his teammate, in P3.
Yeah, and I completely got my prediction wrong, so... did he say Piloto would get pole, or did he just say he'd be one to watch for?
I didn't actually give anyone, to be truthfully honest. But I mean, Piloto Pai, I kind of wanted it to be him, just because of how poor of a showing he had last week. He's back with a vengeance. Clearly, he's showing it with his pace as well. He's almost 2/10 ahead of Aviator. It's still pretty close. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sort of shooting Aviator and Kulmanik's times down at all, but considering the contrast from where he was last week to where he is this week, this is so much better from Piloto. And he secures the 4 points for the one-shot qualifier. It's Aviator in P2, Kulmanik in P3, Jack, who's back with P4, and Duxie B in P5, Thomas in P6, Landers Milman P7, Furball P8 with Nick Sander P9, Toto running out the top 10, and we had Rwaggy being best of the rest, which is fantastic because Rwaggy is somebody who I like to see overtake people when it comes to these F2 races. He actually seems to find it more comfortable, is probably the only way I can describe it. When it comes to sending it down the inside, he's not afraid to do that. He's very opportunistic and actually quite calculated for the majority of times. So there are occasions where he gets a bit ahead of himself and sometimes goes a bit too deep when he shouldn't. But, overall, his racecraft is pretty solid. His pace is pretty solid. It's his consistency that's laying him down, and I want to see improvements today.
Yeah, as you say, the consistency has been the main letdown, so if he can get that strung together, we could see some very, very strong performances today. Yeah, don't really have anything more to say on that, to be honest.
There's not a lot you can say, really, is there? But looking at the circuit, we are seeing medium tyres for everybody on the track, which is fantastic. There's not going to be any sort of variances when it comes to strategy. We've already had 2 drivers getting disqualified. Now, that's not really a problem. Oh, my word, we've just had some more than that. That was mental. That was Hardy. He's just gone off into the wall. I think he got a bit of contact there from Brooke, who I was just saying, has issues with consistency. I don't think the race start counts as one, and that's another one. Is that Furball? No, it isn't. Who was that? That was quite an off there. Not Burrito. Duxie B? It was Duxie B, yeah, that's it. He, bit heavy on the accelerator, and I think that's something that these guys, if you've never really practiced the F2 cars, you're going to struggle when it comes to that throttle application. You have to keep it nice and tidy, nice and easy, and don't overcook it, especially when you're in Gear 2, and sometimes even in Gear 3, especially in Gear 1, by the way. Gear 1 is suicide. If you are not careful in Gear 1, you are going to have it. Now, something else to bear in mind. these guys that have been reset on their formation lap, their tyres are currently freezing. In fact, if we go and have a look at, I don't think I'm actually going to be able to see them. No, I'm not. But I can almost guarantee you their temperatures are going to be very cold. I mean, even Tortor, he's out there currently now doing a warm-up lap. His fronts are in the mid-70s. His rears are in the mid-80s, almost 90s. So, you know, the temperatures really do fluctuate quite considerably. Oh, that was a bit of a scare there for Tortor. Got to keep that under control coming into this race.
Yeah, very cool tires at the moment. One of the things that I've just noticed, is this the first time we've had everyone starting on the same tire, or am I going crazy?
Everyone is officially starting. I mean, I don't know if it's always the case in feature races. I know in sprint races, that's the ones where it's almost never the same tire.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the problem is that the drivers don't actually have the option to choose the tire compound themselves. So it's not like they can opt for, you know, the softer compound or anything like that. It's just whatever the game gives you, you sadly have to race on. We do have, is that Burrito? I believe it is. Yeah, Burrito Bandito. Slowly making his way to the line. He's had a lot of issues when it comes to these F2 cars. He struggles more with the rear grip than anything. But it's going to be a bit of a sprint coming up towards turn 1. We're going to be seeing Pilotopai and Aviator. They are very well known for having a good battering at each other on any circuit they come into the F2s on. Very good drivers, very fast in these cars, and they're going to need to be, realistically. This is a circuit where it is very fast a lot of the time. The lights are on then here in Bahrain. It's going to be Pilotopai leading us away. And it's go time. A very clean start there for Pluto. Lots of wheel spin, but very quick and off the mark. Duxie B is trying to... Oh, down the inside. That was a big smash. That was Burrito Bandito losing the rear straight into the wall. We're going to be having 2, maybe even 3 wide coming into it. There's a bit of an inside there for Aviator. Thomas is fighting for P3. He's fallen back down now to P5, but he's still in with a shot. He's kept his wing completely clean. He's kept himself out of damage, and there is a lot of scrapping going on. Furball's trying to get on Jack. Landos Milkman is weaving, trying to get past Thomas. Furball's going deep around the outside into turn 4. This would be fantastic if we could pull it off, but I think Jack has just about held it on. Yes, he has a little bit back end. Or has he? No, Furball's back through. That back end stepping out there for Jack has opened him up to being attacked here. He almost has contact with Furball, who keeps himself going, and that's a rotation. That's Tortor. He's just lost control of the car, I think, and so his teammate as well has been caught in it. He did not mean to get caught up, but he has got the wing damage, which does not help his cause.
Yeah, not a great start for Tortor. I think he may have had contact with WG Place, who's just gone around himself. Yeah, they might have had contact because I noticed they were going side by side through that twisty section. Another person's around, that's Tiger Jr. So already on the first side, we have had a lot of incidents. Yeah,
we've had a lot of mistakes made, a lot of overtakes being done, and a lot of questionable decisions as well, to say the least. So, what can we expect to see in the next 7 laps? Lots more, I think, because Cool Manic is going for a move here on Aviator, who goes defensive on the inside already, and is now trying to squeeze his teammate up to the outside. Here comes Cool Manic round the outside. No, he's decided to back out again, allow Aviator through, and now charge up on the home straight towards turn 1. We also have, at the same time, Duxie B fighting with Thomas. He's trying to slip down any which way he can do, and I think he's going to be staying where he is. P3 is alongside of him. He's not quite got it yet. Landos Millman, who's, on my screen at least, ghosted. That's not even Landos. That's... Is that Landos? It's Jack and Thomas.
Playing with Duxie is Thomas at the moment, and Jack.
So I think my, my telemetry's all bugged in a minute. That's fine. I'll have to wait for
my timing tower's all over the place.
Oh, a bit of a squeeze there for Duxie B. He's actually being sandwiched by the by Jack and Landos Milkman. This is going to be... Oh, no! Mistakes are made! Nick Sander just comes across him, and that's Landos Milkman getting rotated. He's kept himself out of the wall. Nick Sander has also gone off the circuit. He's coming back on, and I expected that to be a huge penalty. It looks like he didn't get anything.
Yeah, I didn't actually see what happened. I just saw the aftermath. But I imagine in real racing, that'd be very scary to watch. He's now right on the back of Marquez, though, so... If he can get a good exit, it could be a chance, but of course in these F2 cars it's so much harder to get a slingshot exit on some corners and just go for it because they just don't have the speed the F1 cars have. But he is keeping to the back of him, so the fights are certainly not over yet. Marquez has actually had a poor exit. Just not quite enough. There's a yellow flying tick one, I believe that's Burrito going around again. He's really not liking these cars at the moment.
Yeah, he's struggling with the rear. The traction coming off these cars is pretty insane, to say the least. And that's not Nick Sana that we're seeing. That is, in fact, Tortor and Default, along with Ravenduck. Ravenduck is ahead of this pack now. He actually managed to overtake Brook. But now it's going to be a payment repaid, and here comes Tortor deep into the final corner. That was so nearly a send into the side of Brook, but they've kept it clean. They're still going. That is also Thomas, who's had issues and he's fallen down the wayside. He might be coming into the pit lane. No, he's not. He's just going to try and recover, but he looks unhappy. That's to say the least. Is Tortor going to go for a move on Brook? Brook goes defensive in towards turn 1. He's going to have to, and I think he might even try for a send here on Ravenduck. That's a mistake made from Ravenduck. That's going to allow Tortor back in, but Ravenduck's got the pace coming off the exit. He's managed to keep himself ahead of this fight, but this is going to be a battle that will never end.
Yeah, and Tortor trying to go down the inside of Brook, but they're both catching on Ravenduck, so this is just a whole big thing of everyone catching up to each other. Tortor trying to keep it on Brook, but doesn't quite have the traction. And honestly, I could see this battle going on all race long unless Ravenduck can break that's taking up. He's got a bit of a gap now, but whether he can keep that as Tortor goes around the outside, can he do that? Brook has actually lost his left end plate, so he is severely hurt here. As Tortor now down the inside, can he make it work? It looks like he has. I just don't think Brook has the downforce to compete with him at the moment. And now on the exit, they're both going to have DRS. And Brook's going to come back to him on the inside line. Tortor goes defensive, very defensive, but very fair as well. Is Brook going to try it? He's going for a little bit of contact, but they both seem to be fine. Tortor getting a bit of a poor exit from that, though, as Thomas has come absolutely out of nowhere and has just made this a three-way fight between these three cars. And look at Ravenduck, he's just pulling away.
But
and
Thomas
has
is
gone around both of them.
Yeah, how did he that is crazy to even try that, but he's pulled it off. He's gone around the outside of both of them. Yes, there's still going to be a moment here where he's actually going to be losing out when it comes onto the home straight. He's got the better wing, that's for sure, and his teammate squeezes him right onto the outside there. We also have a crazy battle that's going on between Duxby and Furball. These guys have been swapping places non-stop. Duxby's looking for the switch back. He didn't quite get the turn in he needed. Furball's going to get the drive away here, which is going to allow him to just about hang in as Brook goes round the outside in towards turn 1. It's going to be a bit of a mistake there from Thomas as Default running seriously deep, and two cars, in fact, managed to gain that position from him. So Tortor up to P12, Lando's Milkman up into P13, and we go back to Furball and Duxby still going at it. This doesn't seem to want to end anytime soon, and Furball's gone. He's kept himself pointing in the sort of right direction, but he's heavily off the circuit. He's lost a couple of positions, and I think it was a bit of a mistake made there from Furball more than anything. Yes, he was pushed off the circuit by Duxby, but there's a point in time where you got to go, I should probably back out now.
Yeah, it really is a case of you've got to know when the battle's ended and when you just need to wait for later on in the race. Obviously, these races are shorter, so you have less opportunities, but that doesn't mean you have to go for an opportunity as soon as it opens up. So, possibly just a bit of misjudgment there. But actually, if Furball stays where he is, he will be starting pole position for the next race, which I don't think he would mind in the slightest.
No, I mean, this is great. You know, if he can hold P8, then yes, he's going to jump up to pole position off the start of the next Grand Prix. But the issue he's going to have here is this is the race that scores the most points. So there is a catch-22 when it comes to this Grand Prix. Yes, it's fantastic if you can get yourself onto P8, so then you're going to be P1 for the next bit. But it's just how many points could you have actually gained had you just carried it on? Nick Sana onto the back of Marquez now. DRS wing wide open. Marquez goes defensive in towards turn 1, but Nick Sana says, no, thank you. I will take that inside line. He's going to go deep into it, but he's going to keep himself just about on the apex. It's all about the exit speeds and also make sure you give enough space, and Nick Sana has done just about that. Marquez squeezes in, but just about fairly, and Nick Sana now up to P6. Is Marquez trying to stick it with him? Surely he's not. Well, he's gone around the outside. Might get the cutback here. If he can get the exit of Dreams, not as good as he needed. But considering this guy mainly drives on a keyboard, I think right now he's driving on a controller, it is incredible to watch as Ravenduck and Tortor are battling.
Yep, Ravenduck on the last lap, I believe, had a bad exit going up the long right-hander uphill, which let Thomas have a go at him, and then they just had a massive scuffle on the main straight in turn 1, which is now turned into Lando's Milkman being in 10th, Thomas 12th, Tortor 12th, and I believe Ravenduck just made another mistake.
Yeah, he did. He just got a little bit too excited on the brakes. And he lost the rear, and then he tried to accelerate out of it, and again, just lost the rear even more. I mean, he kept it. He didn't completely lose control. He just lost an obscene amount of time, and that's caused him to fall back now away from Brook. But again, look at Jack and Cool Manic. They have been scrapping for a while. They've been doing a Duxby and Furball, but this time Jack is actually going to try a move. He's going to get the cut back here through the final corner. He needs to get the exit of Dreams, which I think he's just about got, considering he has DRS and the toe coming up towards turn 1. The pace difference is going to be quite substantial now, as that wing will reduce a lot of the drag, and is literally in the name. Jack is up to P3. Is he a jack of all trades? That's the question.
Well, he certainly seems to be jack of all trades at the moment. A podium would be very nice. Who's Cool Man just loses the rear end, and I think that's all hope of third place gone for now, at least, unless Jack makes a big mistake later on. What is the closest battle now? Probably Raven Duck and Brook, isn't it?
Yeah, at the minute. And there is also, in fairness, there's actually a bit of a train going on. You've got WG plays with Lando's Milkman chasing him, and Thomas as well. In fact, Lando's Milkman might actually go for a move here. This is going to be a late send if he does go for it. I think he's trying to get around the outside. This is insane, but he can't quite get it. Has to back out. That was ambitious, to say the least. If he'd have pulled that off, that could have very nearly been the move of the season, and we're only on the second race.
Yeah, it would be very early on to get ready. Oh, as Thomas has spun the rear end. He's kept it more or less going the right way, but he's lost the position to Tortor now, and just got a penalty as well, just for his troubles. But yeah, that would have been an incredible move by Landis Milkman if he pulled it off.
Raven Duck is coming back at Brook. I mean, they've been having mistakes made between the two of them, and it's kind of who's going to get this position is more down to who can be the person who makes the least mistakes. That's the way it seems like. Raven Duck's just made a big one though, and he's got himself a 2-second penalty to go with it. Yes, there may be wing damage on Brook's car, but Raven Duck is struggling. This is a send and a half down the inside. Brook is trying to get the cut back on him. I think he might just about, but he's going to have to go on the outside here. Raven Duck losing the back end a little touch. Kept it together, and whilst it was an attempt, and I'll give him a C+ for the attempt there, because it wasn't quite perfectly executed, but the effort was absolutely there. And surely, don't go for it now. This is not the place. And Default reads that situation perfectly. He says, well, I'll just let you through. I'll take DRS and I'll get you back again in towards turn 1.
Yep, and actually Landis Milkman has been lining up WG plays again. He actually had a little touch with him going up the right-hander. He goes around the outside, looks like a pretty clean move, but no, WG plays late on the brakes, I believe, on the inside. And it's going to be the same situation as the last lap. Landis has got a very good exit, though. He should be able to make the move stick, except WG actually has the DRS this time. So it's going to be a drag race down into this next corner. Landis on the inside. WG just cuts him off. A little bit risque there from WG, but I think it was just about fair. Yeah,
I mean, it was a very on-limit decision there, wasn't he? He decided to shut the door at the very last second. You know, fair play that there was no contact, but that was marginal to say the least. I think that was more down to Lando's recognizing the situation, expecting a bit of a turn in there, and backed out a bit at the perfect time, effectively. Which is good. Saved his wing, saved his rotation, saved his position, but he needs to get a move on. He needs the P9, and ideally, he needs to find a way through to get to Furball, but 8.7 seconds is the current gap. There's surely no way now, unless a mistake is made from Furball, that he can bring this back. It's purely down to just holding on to P9, double up your points a little bit, and then just see where you end up later on in this Grand Prix. Nixana and Duxby, they're now battling. It was Duxby who lost out to Nixana, and now Duxby repays a favour, gets himself in and done. Coming up to the final corner, final straight. DRS wing is available to Duxby. I don't think Nixana got it. No, he didn't. So Duxby, not only does he make the move in the final corner, he also gets the DRS to secure the position even more so. But he hasn't quite pulled enough of a gap, I feel, and that's allowing Nixana to come back at him here, because we have another DRS section coming up, and Duxby getting a little bit lively on the rear end will mean that Nixana here can go for a move down the inside. Duxby gives a little bit of a weave there, a bit dangerous to say the least, but it's not actually caused any contact, just a few code browns there for Nixana. Nixana getting a bit of a wobble as well, and that's allowed Duxby right back through, straight up into P5 again, and this battle will recommence once more, and Furball's attacking Marquez.
Meanwhile, something's happened to Jack. Look, he's back down into P4. There were yellow flags for a moment. So I don't know if he got caught out on the curb or not, but he's going to have to try and get past Cool Manic again, which we've seen him do, so it's definitely possible, but I'm sure he won't be happy about that. He's got the DRS, he's got the toe, but he's fairly far back for this straight. This is the last lap. Cool Manic goes defensive. Jack will have to go to the outside. He's going to try and carry the speed all the way around. Not quite, but this isn't the end of the story yet. He still has a chance. He can still pull out some trades if he is indeed the jack of all trades, as you mentioned earlier. And the corner going very slow. I think Jack wasn't expecting to go quite that slow through the corner, and that's going to compromise his exit. So Cormatic might get away with that and keep this position, but Jack does have a good slipstream. Is he going to try it? He is going to try it very late on the brakes. Is Cormatic going to get him on the exit? I think he will. It's going to be a drag race to the line. And now I think Jack actually might keep this. It's going to be a photo finish. Jack stays in front.
Well, he had the DRS as well, which made it even more crucial for him. And Nick Sanders managed to hold back Duxie B. You got Marquez and Furball. They're also going to come across the line and get the 7th and 8th places. The rest now, well, there's only 2 extra positions that are going to get points. Landos Milkman will come across the line and get P9, so double points for him. Toto will cross P10 and get a singular point. And then the rest are just going to get commiserations awarded. Thomas will get best of the rest. WG Players will take P12. Brooke, who tried his best, he's just had a bit of an issue. Actually, he will take P12 because WG Players has penalties. Ravenduck, who clearly something went wrong for him in that final couple of laps because he's dropped massively off the pace there. Down to 13.5 seconds behind WG Plays. He will stay there in 14th place. And Hardy, who we saw earlier, he tried his best, and fair play to him, he's committed to go to the end, but he did get caught up in some little traffic, and as a result of that, he ended up getting caught up in an incident. Bit of damage, caused him to go to the pit stop. Back again, here we go once more. And now, like I said earlier, I mean, look, that was the feature race for the F2s, okay? And I said right before we even started commentating here, Bahrain delivers every single time we come here. And that was just one half of what we're going to see for the rest of the F2s. And then we have the F1 afterwards. So this is just going to be an absolutely astonishing evening of Formula Racing League. Well, we'll move on over to the actual rundown, and we'll see exactly who finished where and how many points they have scored. Bear in mind, Piloto did score that 4 points as well as the win, so he is actually quite far up the field. 29 points is where he sits overall. We'll check the whole weekend in just a second. As Aviator came P2, Jack gets not only P3, but he also gets 2 points for getting the fastest lap, so 17 in his pocket. Coolmanic in P4, Nixana P5, Duxie B P6, Marquez P7, Furball P8, and remember, the top 8 get flipped and reversed. So if you're in P8, you're going to be starting P1. If you're in P7, you're going to be starting P2, and so on until you get obviously to Piloto Pi, who's going to be starting in P8. And then we resume as normal here in P9. Landos Milman P9, Toto getting that final point with Thomas P, W Turner getting best of the rest. Then Brooke, then WG Plays, then Ravenduck, then Hardy, and the 2 DNFers, coincidentally, in ART Grand Prix cars, are Burrito Bandito and Tiger Jr.
Yeah, a little bit of a almost conspiracy, you could say, the same team not finishing. But Piloto is in a very good position to take the weekend, as I've been put in the lobby. I don't know if you have.
He made a boo-boo. He made a boo-boo. He forgot
did he not put the second race in?
He forgot the second race. I also have been put in the lobby.
Yeah, I think everyone is.
Play elevator music really quick. And the problem is, I don't actually think you can go straight to the sprint race.
No, you cannot, as far as I know.
So we'll just be doing a 5-lapper, effectively.
All I think he's trying to do is create a short race, try and tell everyone to retire from that first race, and then we're going to the sprint, I believe is what will happen.
The problem we're going to have, though, is the grid is going to be randomized.
Oh, yeah,
now,
the grid.
Because none of the drivers are going to be in the right positions. So, bit of a mistake here from Ravenduck, but...
Is there no way to do custom grids?
You could do custom grids, yeah, you could. He could set up. I mean, the time it'll take to set up.
But that's if we still have...
We have time. We have time, actually. We could do it. Yeah, let me mention him. So P1 was Piloto. P2 was Aviator. P3, can we remember?
P3 was Jack, if I remember correctly.
P4 was...
Coolmanic, I believe.
Coolmanic.
I'll just... what I can do is go into your stream and then rewind it, see if that...
Rewind it. Back in the VHS days.
Rewind the thing. Oh, VHS. Oh.
P5 was... Can you remember? Was it Furball? No, it wasn't Furball. Furball was P8.
No, Furball was P8, P7.
Was it? Oh, Nixana. Nixana was P5.
Yeah, it was either Nixana or Duxie. I believe it was Nixana. Just coming up with a thing now.
P6
Ixana was
Duxie B.
5th, Duxie was 6th, Marquez was 7th, Thurbal 8th, Lando's Milkman 9th, Tortor 10th, Thomas 11th, Brooke 12th, WG Plays 13th, Raven Duck 14th, Hardy 15th, Burrito and Tiger Jr.
P9
15th.
again, sorry. P9.
Lando's Milkman was P9.
Oh, wait. P8 was Furball. Sorry,
Yes.
not Tortor. P9 was who?
Lando's Milkman, P9.
Lando's P10.
Sorry, let me bring it back up. I believe it was Tortor P10.
Tortor
Yep.
P11.
Tortor P10, Thomas P11, Brooke P12, WG Plays.
Oh, WG plays.
Is 13th.
Then Raven Duck.
Then Raven Duck, then Hardy.
Has he
And
fixed it?
then-
I think he's done it. He's done it. Okay, he says we good.
Alright. If we are good, then we are good.
Pog. Alright. Well, looks like we're going again then.
Huzzah!
We are switching up just slightly. We're obviously going to be doing a 5-lap race with a custom grid. So we're still going to be resuming as was. Realistically, Piloto Paya. The only thing to really mention is the only people who have actually gained any extra points than where they were before is Piloto Paya and Jack, because Jack got the fastest lap. So he gets the 2 points from the previous race. Piloto Paya gets 4 points from the qualifying, because obviously he did one-shot qualifying and managed to secure that perfectly fine. So bear those points in mind. Obviously, the ending will look a little bit weird, but we can add those points ourselves manually in our head and our big brains, and we'll figure out who got where and what and how and blah, blah, blah. Realistically, Piloto Paya is in a pretty damn good position to actually secure this weekend. He can't get the perfect one because he didn't get the fastest lap in the first race, so he will have to just try his best and deliver now in this second race. So apologies for the little delay there. There was a slight mistake made from the lobby host. It won't happen again. He knows exactly what needs to be done for next week, so we'll ensure that is done properly. But Bahrain, part 2. Anybody you have in mind for the win? I've also got a feeling one-shot qualies on. Oh no, custom grid, we got sorry, we're good.
Yeah. For the win. No, someone I'm going to single out immediately, Piloto. I don't think he's going to win. I believe... I'll need to see the custom grid again because
we're going.
it's black from my mind.
There's no formation lap. We're getting straight in. And it's go time here. Furball obviously is going to be starting us off the bat in towards turn 1. I think we've got away pretty cleanly. I don't see any real mistakes being made by the drivers. A lot of mistakes there from Duxie B. That's a big shun off towards the wall. He's kept himself just about going, but he is pointing in the wrong direction. He's going to have to do a 180 on the circuit to get himself back into this. Marquez is race leader with Aviator P2.
It's happened again. Piloto's been spun round by someone. And just like last week, it looks like he might have a horror show of a sprint race.
Every time, and I'm with you, like when you said earlier that you can rule someone out, it's going to be Piloto Paya. He is a great driver, but Aviator, that was a massive contact between him and WG Plays. He's been sent off into the wall, straight away over to the exit. He has reset to the circuit. A couple of code browns for the drivers behind, but end plate missing on the right-hand side. He's going to struggle now.
Yeah, I believe he was in the top 10, so he was near at least some points, but without wing damage and down in 16th, he's really going to struggle in this race now. Did Duxie B get any damage from that start? Doesn't look like it, so he might be able to recover. With the place ahead of him as Brooke moves ahead of Raven Duck.
And Raven Duck repairs the favour. That was a bit of a braking zone there that Raven Duck just took very late, and they're still going side by side. This is going to be dangerous for them. Brooke gets a little bit of a tap there on the rear end, keeps his car pointing in the right direction. This is fantastic stuff. Raven Duck really taking it to Brooke today. These two have been going at it throughout the entirety of the feature race, and it looks like the sprint race is going to be exactly the same.
Yeah, it is exactly part 2, as he said. But of course, Brooke right on the back of Lando's Moment, making a small mistake. If Lando's can carry Brooke, then Raven Duck might have to worry if he can get back into the top 10. Meanwhile, up front, it is now Marquez leading from Ixana, from Jack. Those three all within a second. And then Aviator is actually under threat from Thomas. He's all over the back of him. Aviator, interestingly, actually having a better exit out of there. Meanwhile, something's happened behind Cool Manic.
Oh, Tiger Jr.
Right on the back of him.
That's a boo-boo.
He's reset to track as well, which moves Piloto and Duxie up to 13th and 14th. So actually, Piloto's already on the back of this train. He might actually be able to grab some points here, which would be incredible considering his first lap.
Yeah, exactly, and that's a potential though. He's got a lot to do, but look at this fight for race lead. We have a three-way battle between Marquez, Nixana, and Jack. Jack is pretty much just sitting here, biding his time, watching what unfolds, and he knows Nixana can go a bit deep sometimes. There was a bit of a mistake there, I believe, from, was that Lando's?
No, it was Thomas making a very ambitious dive on, I can't remember who he made it on, but he made a very ambitious dive on someone and cost himself and said person a couple of positions.
I think it was Lando's that got hit then, because he was there. He was involved in that battle for a short while.
Yeah.
Furball's been dealt a bit of a recovery card, to be honest. He was P1 at the start of this Grand Prix, remember? And he's fallen to P5. It was P7 until Thomas and Lando's Millman had a battle, and that, well, we know how that ended up.
Yeah, but yeah, so before Thomas did that little dive bomb of his, I was saying, oh, it could actually be a five-way battle. No, it is a three-way battle, and look at this. Jack in the slipstream and Nixana, who's trying to line up a move on Marquez. They're just switching lines all over. Jack probably actually has the best opportunity here. He sees what the other two are doing. As Nixana's gone around a bit, no, I think he just lost the rear.
And Jack's going for it. Is he going to get this? He's actually going to get this locked in. We've got DRS being available to all the drivers, and this is going to be an outside line, surely, for Jack. If he can pull this one off, Nixana, no, that's always going to happen for you. Whenever you try an inside line, whenever you get your wings stuck into the back of someone, you are never going to get that move done, and that is point proven. Furball is losing a position and gaining a position all at the same time, as Thomas will pass as he then gains a position on Nixana. Here comes Aviator deep into the corner. That is a move done and dusted. Furball was caught napping a little bit there, and that allows Aviator to get into P5 and start working his way to close in for the podium.
Yeah, that is going to be a very, very good fight between them. I believe that's 4 cars now in that battle for the podium. Meanwhile, it's just Jack and Marquez for the lead. Can Jack try anything here? No, he's going to look for a good exit up the uphill right-hander. Thomas gets a penalty, I believe it's first of the race. As Jack trying to go around the outside of Marquez. Is he actually going to get this done? He is! Jack's going around the outside of Marquez, but Marquez is coming back on the inside.
He's still there.
And Marquez has kept it. Brilliant racing from both of them.
Yeah, but a mistake from Marquez. Like, I mean, yes, all right, in terms of defensive moves, that was perfect. He couldn't do anything wrong there. But he's not getting DRS here. Let him go. Let him just get race lead and then just get him back here on DRS. Here comes Jack then, already in the gearbox of Marquez. There's almost no way now for Marquez to defend this. This is just going to be a DRS overtake for Jack now, unless Marquez is later on the brakes, which is exactly what he's trying to do. He's stuck on the inside of him, but Jack is going to get the exit that he needs. And again, it's going to be a switch of DRS now. So yes, Marquez may have lost out on the home straight, but he's going to need to do a lot more now to pass Jack.
Meanwhile, there's been an absolute scrap in that four-way fight we were talking about earlier for the podium. It's just everywhere. I believe there was actually a very scary incident between Aviator and Thomas where they both could have gone around, but they both kept going forward as Cruel Manic has just been passed by Lando's Milkman further behind. Don't know if that battle will continue. Yellow flag as, again, both Tiger Jr. and Burrito DNF.
Duxie B gets caught out by a very slow Kulmanik, and that is a massive crash into the back of Kulmanik. Definite wing damage on the right-hand side. In fact, you know, the only thing he's got there is the floor of that wing. He has nothing else. So Duxie B is going to be limping throughout the rest of the circuit. Oh, and that's a mistake made from Kulmanik. So that's a bit of a repayment there for Duxie B, and Kulmanik has crashed out of this Grand Prix.
Well, it's unfortunate for him. He's having a decent race, but it's all gone in the bin now, and he will be joining Tiger Jr. Burrito in that retirement pool party after the race, as Jack has had a very good exit on Marquez. Is he going to do what Marquez should have done last lap? It seems like it. I think he did actually back off a bit there. So he's going to have the DRS again. So what's going to happen? Because I would have thought he had it nice and clean on the last lap, but he proved me wrong. So let's see, he's got the DRS. He's already out of the slipstream. Marquez going defensive, Jack going further on the inside. This should surely be his move. As Jack, actually later on the brakes as well. That's going to give him a poor exit compared to Marquez. Marquez also with the DRS. Marquez has had a lovely exit. And it looks like Jack is going to lose his position again. Unless he can defend this inside line. Going into the corner, side by side. He's on the inside. He doesn't get spun around like others previously. Oh, now he gets spun around after contact. It was wheel to wheel.
How did he not get wing damage?
I have no idea. Some of these cars seem indestructible. He didn't get wing damage in the last race because apparently he hit the wall in the feature race and didn't get damage. So clearly that car is made out of carbon fiber ×2. As I believe that's Aviator who's nearly gone into the wall but avoided it. And that is any hope of points over for him. As we have just gone into the last lap of it, you just realised.
Yeah.
And Marquez looks set to win this race.
And Jack has gone for a move down the inside of Thomas. That was a very elbows out, push his way through, but get himself into a P4 position. And Jack knows what could have been had he just secured that win here today in this Grand Prix and maybe even got himself the fastest lap. He would have beaten Piloto Paya. Remember, the 4 points that Piloto had would have put him on 29 in total. Jack, who had not only the 15 from the last race, he also had the additional 2 on top of that, so he was 17. He only needed 12 points to tie, or more than that, just to win the overall weekend victory here. Marquez then will, who has driven such a fantastic race, cross the line and take the win here with Furball in P2. Tortor will get the final step of the podium. Jack will take P4. Thomas will take P5, although he's fallen down the order along with Landos Milman as Hardy. What a recovery drive from him. Will get himself a P5. Piloto Paya finishes in P6, and that's crucial because that might be just enough there for him to still keep the win over Jack overall.
Yeah, I think that'll almost definitely be enough. Had Jack won that, it would have been much closer, but I think Piloto, after that recovery drive, is well and safe for the weekend win as Hardy gets driver of the day, unsurprisingly, for the sprint race.
I mean, look, Hardy, a different showing of him previously. I've not seen him drive this well in a very long time. That was a very good Grand Prix in that second race. First one, again, we talk about it. He got caught up in an incident. Not his fault necessarily. You know, he got wing damage, severe wing damage, had to go to the pits, and then bring himself right back on in again in order for him to secure some brilliant level of points and the driver of the day. So well played to him. Let's go ahead and have a look at that final race rundown at the end of that. So Marquez obviously gets the win. Furball gets P2 and gets the additional points there. Now remember, in the sprint race, only the top 8 actually score points, and it starts from 15 points down. So Jack actually only scored 10 points, which would have put him on 27, which I can tell you now was not enough. So Piloto Paya, who scores 8 points in this feature race, in total actually scored only 1, 2, 3, 4. Quick maths. Come on, where is he? P6. Take away 2. Fourth. He finished 1, 2, 3, 4. 6 points. There we go. I did it. Nailed it.
No,
that was hard. That was really hard. No, 2 points.
I'm impressed.
He still did it. It's fine. He wins. Okay, that's the bit that matters. I can't do maths. That's what we figured out. But fair play to our boy Piloto Paya. He came back with a vengeance. Last week he had the worst weekend he's had in a long time. This week he had a bit of a roller coaster ride. He had a really good qualifying, really good first race. Second race left a lot to be desired, and fingers crossed we'll see from him the second person ever to get the perfect weekend. Bottas Gang is the only person who's ever done it. Piloto Paya is someone I believe with wholeheartedly can secure a perfect weekend. But don't go anywhere. Yes, that might be the end of the F2s, but the F1 races are coming up in just a moment. So stay tuned, stay tight. We'll be right back with you.